Hello, I'm Alan Everett. On March 2nd, 2017, I had a very unusual request made of me. That was to answer several questions in an interview-style format. The questions were not known to me prior to the session, and we sat, the questions were asked, and they were taped. An off-camera spokesperson asked the questions of me, so his sound quality was not very good. We decided that we would represent the questions being posed as text frames as a lead-in to each answer. I thought it would be a good idea to film an introduction, like what I'm doing here. That way we'd be able to explain the nature of what the entire video is about. Also, it would give me an opportunity to say thank you for the people who helped me, and if you are watching this, I wanted to express that I hope in some small measure you get some enjoyment out of this, because I certainly got a tremendous amount out of it by doing it. I had never been on camera before, and it was a new experience for me. I hope the result of this is as we thought it was going to be, and it was somewhat entertaining for the viewer. Many thanks for watching.
If I could be anywhere in the world right now, I would be, assuming I don't have to have a time constraint, I would go to about 1966 in the panhandle of Florida between the city of Destin and Panama City. My family owned some property there when I was a child. My grandmother bought it from the U.S. Army at the end of the Second World War, and we lived there during the summers as I was growing up. And it was a place of just such sublime beauty. Solitude, I'll certainly say that, which I'm not sure is good for a small kid, but it was such a beautiful place to live. Rolling dunes and not a soul in sight. Bordering our property was a St. Joe Paper Company, owned almost 60 miles along the Gulf of Mexico. And so the place was utterly deserted. That's where I'd go. If I could choose a superpower of some sort, assuming the X-Men and all those sorts of guys are real, I believe what I would choose would be personal aviation. And when I say personal, I do not mean mechanically assisted. Like in that old Fleetwood Mac song, I hear there's a place down in Mexico where a man can fly over mountains and hills. He don't need an airplane, some kind of engine, and he never will. That to me would be the neatest, most liberating thing, just to be able to levitate and then locomote. If I won the lottery, this is a question that's been posed to me quite a few times, and I hope this is true. What I believe that I would do is, very anonymously, of course, I think I would publish a picture of someone else's face, someone who would volunteer for it, because I don't want anyone to know that I'm the man of the hour in that regard. I believe what I would do for the very first thing is I would assemble all of my friends and my family, particularly my family, on a sheet of paper, and I would retire every single debt that every single one of them has. Then after that, I think we'd start piecing it out, have a little bit of fun, but I think the bulk of it, assuming that we're talking about a Powerball, 200 million sort of lump sum, I believe I'd try to do some good, try to alleviate some suffering that occurs in the world, because it seems there is so much. That's what I would do. I suppose my favorite leisure activity's got to be kayaking. I have owned a variety of boats in my life, everything from bass boats to a 58-foot sailboat. My favorite vessel that I have ever owned, I still own currently. It's a little plastic kayak. It's 9 feet 2 inches and 36 inches in the beam. That means you can sit there and it doesn't do all that sort of stuff to you. It is the most giving craft I've ever known. Most boats want to take and take and take. We always defined a yachtsman's unit as $1,000. I've never put a yachtsman's unit into the little blue kayak. It cost me $50. And it's dying to have me throw it off the back of a truck and drag it across gravel. No big deal. That boat and I have traveled all over everywhere through waterways that were just gorgeous. We've explored all of the wetlands of Florida. That's a very interesting question, and one that I've been given over to thought on quite a bit through my career professionally, having been subjected to quite a few of each flavor, good and bad leaders. I think that a good leader absolutely must be possessed of an enormous level of humility along with whatever extraordinary talent he has. The ability to get a job done, that's a given. You have to have that. But in order to lead people, to motivate them, you have to become one of them, in my mind. The best way to motivate is fail to demotivate. And I've always tried to live that way. That ties into what I think is perhaps the most prominent quality of a bad leader, and that would have to be ego, self-centeredness. If I set myself apart from you and I transmit to you a message that I'm in some way better or smarter, or you're my people and I'm your leader, that sort of thing, I have effectively demotivated you, as I just remarked. And there's nothing any worse than paying people well and making them hate you and then leaving and expecting them to get a job done, because it just won't happen. So I really have to say that the best quality of a good leader is humility, and the most prominent quality, the worst quality of a bad leader, if you will, would have to be ego.